It was supposed to be a routine patrol over calm blue water, until a Chinese warship did the one thing no pilot ever expects. It didn't just issue a warning. It locked its fire control radar directly onto a US Navy helicopter. In an instant, the sky went from peaceful to hostile. One radar tone, and the crew knew this wasn't a bluff. One wrong move could trigger missiles. One challenge could ignite a regional conflict. And yet, what China didn't realize was that targeting this helicopter wouldn't intimidate the United States. It would expose a colossal mistake that would turn the entire standoff against them. Now the question is, how did a single radar lock spiral into a full-scale naval showdown? Because this is where the calm ends, and the real story begins. 0700 local time. The South China Sea looks calm, mirror-flat water stretching endlessly beneath a hazy horizon. An MH-60R Seahawk from a US Navy helicopter squadron slices through the air at 140 knots, cruising 2,000 feet above the surface. To the crew, this is standard maritime surveillance. Track vessels, log coordinates, stay alert. Nothing unusual. Yet. Below them, the gray silhouette of a Chinese Type 052D destroyer glides through contested waters. Its presence is nothing new, but then the radio crackles alive. Unidentified helicopter, you're entering restricted airspace. Turn away immediately. The U.S. crew shares a look. They've heard this before. There is no restricted airspace here. International law is clear, and the U.S. operates on that principle. They stay on course. 2 minutes after the warning, the tone inside the cockpit changes. Not the radio, something far worse. A high-pitched shriek erupts from the radar warning receiver. The Seahawk has been painted by a fire control radar. This isn't a friendly ping. This is the targeting system used just before launching a missile. Instant tension. Every heartbeat is louder than the rotor blades. The pilot's hands tighten on the controls. The crew snaps into combat readiness. Altitude steady at 2,000 feet. Course unchanged. They hold position, but defensive maneuvers are seconds away. They're being threatened in international airspace, and everyone on board knows backing down sets a dangerous precedent. The sea is still calm. The sky is still blue. But the situation just went hostile. Do they back off or push forward? The Seahawk crew wastes no time. They key the radio and send a coded transmission straight to their carrier strike group. Fire control lock detected. Source, Type 052D destroyer. Within seconds, the operations center aboard the Nimitz-class carrier comes alive. Consoles light up. Officers lean over radar displays. The atmosphere shifts from routine monitoring to heightened alert. At 0710, the carrier hails the Chinese destroyer directly, demanding an explanation. Silence, then a cold reply. You are provoking instability. Leave immediately. No mention of disengaging the lock, no attempt to de-escalate. This isn't just a warning, it's a challenge. On the carrier, senior command steps in. The stakes just jumped. They cannot allow a U.S. asset, especially an unarmed surveillance helicopter, to be threatened without consequence. At 0715, Fleet Command authorizes defensive posture. Orders ripple through the strike group. Aegis-equipped escorts tighten formation. Combat Air Patrol adjusts flight path. Long-range sensors focus on the destroyer. And deep in the carrier's secure CIC, electronic warfare specialists begin scanning every frequency for signs of an incoming missile. They know how fast this can go wrong. From radar lock to launch in seconds. The Seahawk maintains its course, but the crew's breathing is tight. Every instrument is watched. Every second matters. The Chinese ship still has them in its sights, holding that lock like a finger resting on a trigger. Both sides are posturing. Both sides are watching. The question floating over the ocean is simple. Will this standoff hold or explode into the first kinetic clash between superpowers? 0719 hours. The carrier strike group has seen enough. If China won't disengage, the U.S. will make them. High above the formation, an EA-18G Growler, America's premier electronic warfare jet, banks hard and turns toward the Chinese destroyer. At 0720, it powers up its jamming pods and floods the air with electronic noise, precisely tuned to the destroyer's targeting frequencies. Instant effect. The fire control radar on the Type 052D starts to stutter. Its lock on the Seahawk flickers, struggling to hold. Down low, the Seahawk crew feels the pressure ease. They seize the moment, dropping altitude in a sudden dive and skimming just above the wave tops. The sea is their cover. Every maneuver is razor precise, hugging the ocean to break line-of-sight targeting. At the same time, a U.S. destroyer sweeps forward, placing itself directly between the Chinese ship and the helicopter. Its presence isn't subtle. Its message is clear. If you want them, you go through us. The PLA operators scramble. Their screens glitch. Sensors blink as the Growler's EW barrage intensifies. What was once a confident lock becomes digital chaos. 0722. The Chinese radar can't keep up. Then, silence. The Seahawk vanishes from their screens. Just like that, the hunter goes blind. On the U.S. side, a quiet confidence settles in. No shots fired, no missiles launched, but dominance established. The Seahawk climbs back to altitude, fully in control and fully protected. But humiliation is dangerous, and a blind dragon is still a dragon. Will China accept being electronically outmaneuvered, or strike back in a different way?
0725 hours. Losing radar lock is a blow to Chinese pride, and they don't hide it. Without warning, the Type 052D destroyer launches its own helicopter, a Harbin Z9, blades roaring as it lifts off the deck and heads straight toward the Seahawk's last known position. This move changes everything. A ship's radar lock can be denied. A helicopter in visual range, much harder. The U.S. responds instantly. A second MH-60R Seahawk is launched from the carrier, this one armed with door-mounted machine guns and defensive countermeasures. It doesn't fly away from the threat, it flies toward it. Both helicopters level out at similar altitude, just over 1,000 feet, circling each other in the sky like predators, testing for weakness. The South China Sea, usually vast and empty, suddenly feels small. 0730 hours. Above the contested reef, tension crystallizes. Down on the carrier deck, everything shifts into full battle readiness. Flight ops halt. Weapons crews stand by. Aegis destroyers lock onto the PLA ship with tracking solutions. Pilots sit in cockpits with engines hot. One misread signal, one flare, one evasive move, and 2 helicopters could trigger naval warfare between superpowers. Up in the air, rotor wash collides. The Seahawk and Z9 fly tight orbits, barely 1,000 feet apart. The message from both sides is the same: we're not backing down. Every second feels like a countdown. Every movement could be the spark. And then a subtle shift. The Chinese helicopter inches closer, testing the line. The U.S. crew tightens grip on the controls. Who blinks first under the pressure? 0738 hours. The situation in the sky is razor thin. 2 helicopters shadowing each other, warships on edge. One mistake and history changes. The U.S. decides to end the guessing game. A Ticonderoga-class Aegis cruiser silently rotates its vertical launch system toward the Chinese destroyer. No missiles are fired, but every fire control system locks in. This isn't a bluff. This is a kill-ready solution. 0740. The cruiser transmits a short, unmistakable broadcast across open channels. Any hostile action will be met with immediate response. No shouting, no threats, just calm, absolute certainty. On the Chinese warship, alarms light up. Their systems detect multiple SM-2 missiles locked onto them from over 90 nautical miles away. They run the numbers. The US has overwhelming missile coverage, carrier air support, and electronic warfare dominance. If this goes hot, the destroyer will not survive the first minute. The Z-9 helicopter hesitates, then begins turning back. The Seahawk holds position, steady and unshaken. Afterwards, the Seahawk continues its intelligence mission, never leaving international airspace, never retreating. The U.S. didn't just protect a helicopter, it enforced the rules of the sea with precision and restraint. China challenged a single helicopter. They ended up staring down the full power of a carrier strike group. And in that moment, they learned pushing too far against the U.S. Navy has consequences. Did China just learn a hard lesson, or are they planning the next move? A single radar lock nearly ignited a naval clash. One helicopter, one destroyer, one reckless challenge in contested waters. This standoff proved how quickly modern warfare can spark, not from missiles or bombs, but from seconds of electronic aggression and a refusal to back down. But it also revealed something deeper. Technology, discipline, and strategic restraint can win battles without firing a shot. When China tried to intimidate, the U.S. answered with precision, overwhelming capability, and absolute control of the battle space. In today's world, the line between warning and war is razor thin. And this time, the U.S. showed exactly why crossing that line is a big mistake. If you want more real military standoffs, aerial chess matches, and split-second decisions that could change history, subscribe and stay locked in, because the next showdown is already on the horizon. Speed, resolve, superiority. That's the difference when the Navy steps in.